In this video, daily race A, Bembo crashes before he even starts. Daily race B, I accidentally send it in towards turn 1. In daily race C, I get used as a bowling ball as I get smashed into. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Gran Turismo weekly race guide here in 2025, week 17. Well, we've got an interesting one. We're in an old school car at Eiger Nordwand, so we haven't used this track for a little while. Back at it, which is nice to see. Now we're doing 5 laps here at Eiger Nordwand. It's a rolling start on the Comfort Soft tyres and Bop is on, but of course you can apply your own liveries as you've seen in the background with Blue Racer, and you can have some good fun here. Now, if you do not like this race, you can jump to Daily Race B or Race C, respectively, if you want to have a look at some race cars. However, we are going to be doing Daily Race A. Now, in terms of the key statistics, we've only used this track twice before, and we've never done this track and car combo at all. We last used this track on the 2nd of September, so it's been quite a while. Nice to see it return. There are some issues, though, with this daily race. The rolling start is atrocious, and we'll get into that in a second, and there is some wall riding happening in terms of the top 10 times. Without further ado then, let's jump into this daily race. Let's have a look at exactly what happens, as well as why the rolling start is really bad. Here we are then at the start. We have Yamagiwa in pole position. Only 12 races this week in daily race A. And look at this for a rolling start. We're starting uphill in a very underpowered car. That's why it's bad, because some of the front runners, leaders, they start downhill and they get an epic start. Unfortunately for starts, Bembo gets the worst one of all, goes for a spin even before the start finish line, which does make me laugh a little bit. Sorry to see that, Bembo, but it was also a little bit funny as well. We'll have a look at exactly what happened in the bloopers. When we get towards the end of lap 1, fighting about to happen here ahead of us. Blue Racer on the inside of Sonic, a triumph of Blue Racer through then as we head up towards the final corner on this circuit, side by side with Sonic here in this Alfa Romeo as we head towards the braking zone, giving some room to Sonic on the outside here, keeping it nice and tight to give that room. And there we are up into P7, but it took a lap to get there. I do feel like this should be a grid start race. I really do. I feel like they've got this completely wrong in terms of the start type. It's taking a lap just to get into some racing. We head down here then hard on the brakes, defending that inside line here as we go into here, and we do manage to get it stopped then as we go through the right then into the left, slowing the car down massively, that under 30 miles an hour. Yes, it's very slow indeed, but it's good fun. I always say, and I say it in lots of videos, so sorry if I'm repeating myself to you, the viewer, but the slower the car, the better the racing, and you can have some fantastic racing here once you catch up to people, which is the critical part there. So up ahead there, Blue Racer gets it slightly wrong, hits the brakes there to avoid a penalty. I'm going to try and go to the left side, bum draft Mario Sonic here to get the position up into P6 we go. However, we're going to be on the outside line heading into this right-hander as we go into here. So Blue Racer trying to maintain that inside line, side by side action. I think somebody behind just hit the wall there. As we continue on through, though, we've maintained that speed, which is critical here as we go up the hill here at Eiger Nordwand, and you can see there up into P6 with a silly little horn there from somebody. I'm going to guess Mario Sonic. I don't know exactly who's doing that. We get a bit of a run down Mario Sonic with the slipstream, so we go on the inside line here, then a bit rallycrossy going on there with the clip of the grass as we continue on through into P5. Once again, giving room on that left-hand side so Mario Sonic can continue on side by side with Sonic's there, lap after lap. How about that one? Anyway, in towards the right we go, and we do get it stopped, get it turned, instantly on the throttle, boot it out of here, and behind us there side by side, but we continue on to lap number 4 where we catch up to Sparks Fury. As we go into here, Sparks brakes really early. Now, I didn't mean to sort of look like I was going for a lunge. I did back out that. Sparks gave me some room there, or plenty of room should I say, and we actually go around the outside here at that I couldn't believe I did that move, to be honest with you. You can see my astonishment in my face, but well played with Sparks there. Again, I didn't mean to actually go for that move. It was just literally the way you hit the brakes. I sort of was diving into the corner as you're meant to do, and we'll see that on the lap guide, and it just worked out that way. It really did. So you see this outside line I'm taking right now on this right-hander. You have to do that to maintain the speed. The tighter the line, the slower you go. It means less power going up this hill. Very weird scenario there in terms of the combos. Anyway, we get towards the end of the race. The gaps are huge just because of the way the rolling start is. And we finished P4 in the end, which isn't too bad, to be honest with you. Congratulations to German Kiwi there. I've only given it a 4.5 out of 10. All the details of the scoring system is down below in a pinned comment. But the main focus there, the rolling start. It doesn't get my seal of approval because of the rolling start. It's terrible. All right, we're going to head towards turn number 1 here with the lap guide then. And on the left-hand side, we have these marshals there. Perfect brake marker. Brake just before you get to them, and you're going to drop to second gear for this corner. You really want to attack this corner a little bit because the car rotates better when you're not doing anything, weirdly. So if you completely lift off, the car rotates even more. And that's going to be critical to getting a good time here. So we hit the brakes here. Second gear, there we go. We start to release it, let the car roll, and then instantly trying to get on the throttle. So at the end of the curb on the right side, or pavement, or whatever you want to call that, that is our brake marker. If you need a brake marker for this corner, I don't use that. But I do point it out all the time because it is a good marker to have if you are struggling for a braking reference point for this corner. You want to stay very tight for this corner. We saw it in the race went under 30 miles an hour. I did just there again. But instantly go on the throttle. You won't get power oversteer and you should be able to accelerate out of there fine. Look how late we're braking for this corner. Usually we're braking at the Marshall, but no, not this time. The bollard on the left-hand side, really good brake marker. Now, what I want you to do is dive towards the inside line. So you're going to hit the brakes. You're going to drop to second gear as well, but take the inside line. Don't go wide here. You really need to take an inside line, as we do right here. Start to release the brakes very quickly. Let the car roll, then start accelerating. Now, we have a Marshall on the left-hand side. It's not exactly the brake marker, but it's a reference that I want you to keep in mind here. You should only be braking after that Marshall disappears off the left-hand side of your screen. Once you've done that, you should be absolutely fine. You will want to let the car roll a little bit so it gets a little bit of rotation, allows to turn, and that's what I'm going to do here. And then I go once I hit the apex. Be careful, track limits on the exit there. They do exist. If you do go all four wheels off there, you will get a 0.5 second penalty. We head towards this right-hander. Now, this is where the wall riding is happening, which is really annoying, but even so, I say wall riding, more wall banging. So what we want to do here is take a wide line, but not touch the wall if you want a legal proper lap. So we have this Armco here, or the barrier on the left-hand side. That is your brake marker. Keep to a wide line here. And as you can see, as I go into here, I'm just letting the car roll out a little bit. And then 55 miles an hour is what you really want. I dropped 54 there, which does mean there is some improvement in this lap still. The more speed you carry there, the quicker this whole sector is. It's unbelievable the difference just 1 mile an hour makes there. So just keep that in mind. Flat out here through the right and the left. No issues at all for this car. We're going so slow. It's absolutely fine. Do hit the limits in this car. And as we head towards the final corner then, what I want you to look for here is that piece of sand there. It's like a path, essentially, to cross the circuit. That's your brake marker for this final corner. You want to brake in a straight line. So notice here how we could just brake in a straight line all the way to the next apex. I want you to do that, okay? You hit the brake, straight line it, don't turn at all, keep it straight, and you should be absolutely fine. You start to release the brakes then, and then let the car roll a little bit. Let the car turn. And once you know you've got enough rotation to get around the corner, hit the throttle. You should be in third gear, and you should make it around absolutely fine. That's it in terms of daily race. I didn't spend too much time on it due to the wall banging that was happening. We jumped to daily race B then, where we're in Group 3 machinery at the Nurburgring. But it's a sprint layout, which is interesting because I don't think we've done the sprint layout here before. Or maybe we have once. We'll check the key statistics. 5 laps, running start, racing medium tyre, and you can adjust that brake balance if you want to adjust the brake balance. And I'll talk about that in the lap guide. I'll show you a graphic, or you can check out the description if you want to get there early. There you can see the sprint layout where it's the hairpin. We have used this track 7 times. We've done the track car combo twice, so apologies there. We have done it twice. We last used this track on the 20th of January. And in terms of issues, diming has to happen in terms of overtakes. And the chicane can always be dodgy with the weight transfer, so just keep that in mind when you do get to that chicane. Now, I chose the Porsche 911 RSRs. A few cars actually in the mix for this one this week. And of course, with the new balance performance that we had recently, we've not really done it with this bop, so some of the brake markers have adjusted slightly. Let's jump into this race then. Let's have a look exactly what happens, and we'll go into a lap guide straight after that race. Here's the start then, and we've got Jensen in pole position. We're starting P11 and then Marisonic in the Ferrari behind me. Max Power choosing the Porsche as well. And if you are enjoying this video, as always, give it a like, subscribe to the channel to stay in touch with all the latest content as we head down towards turn 1 there. You see Jensen here going towards the back of the pack, wanted to do some last first, maybe just get some racing in here. As we go in towards turn 1, Marisonic was looking round the outside there in the Ferrari. However, we do defend that off as we go into the left-hander here. And it's much more closer in terms of the race start versus race A. And it's far better in that regard. So through the right we go. We're going to head towards the hairpin then. This is a sprint circuit, remember. Now as we go into here, side by side of my head, Blue Racer. And I think they're called Easy Spin as their nickname. So we're going to go with that in the BMW M6 there. We head towards the left-hander here. And now as we go through here, I was very surprised with their lines. I was like, okay, I'm going to go for the inside line here. And that's what I'm going to try and do. So through we go. I continue on out. I've got to give room on the exit there. That's exactly what I do. Formula 1, take note as we continue on down here then. And I've started some fire in the comments. Right, let's head towards the chicane. I go towards the left-hand side here. Defensive line. I can't really move back to the racing line here without causing potential issues. Norman up ahead has had some issues through here. Holds up Huggy then. And we're going to get the inside of Huggy. Up into P8 we go. And Blue Racer Well, Blue Race goes up to P6 up ahead as we go through this right-hander. Now, you may have seen some chat come up behind my head. We'll have a look at exactly what happens there in the bloopers, because that is a very interesting incident, that is for sure. Okay, looking down the inside here, and as we head towards turn 1, I sort of half sent it here, but I didn't actually mean to, but I actually could have sent that and made it the apex very easily. I actually backed out of that in the end on Norman, and it would have been my fault if I did go for that there, in my opinion. Anyway, we're going to keep racing with Norman as we head towards the left-hander here. A little bit of contact as we go through here side by side. So I wanted to back out of this one then, let Norman go wide and get the boost on the inside. That was my plan. Huggy gave me a bit of a boost. Cheers, Huggy! And we're actually ahead of Norman before we even get to the hairpin then. So Huggy's going to try and follow me through here as we go into the hairpin. You can see it up, up in the mirror there behind me. There's lots of action going on. There's like 7 cars abreast there, or at least 7 cars close together. So we advance to lap number 4, and up in the distance, Sonic's on the right there. The Lamborghini pushes Sonic out there, and it causes a bit of an incident. We're going to have a look at this one in the bloopers again. The Lamborghini blames Sonic there. Sonic was like, well, I got pushed out. I can see both arguments. We'll have a look in the bloopers though to be sure. They got reset, did the Lamborghini, so I gained a position there. We're actually fighting for P5 here in the sprint race of Daily Race B, which I'm actually really happy about. We're going to start the final lap then here behind that Peugeot RTZ, which did fantastic last week. It did a lot better than I expected in terms of Daily Race C. And remember, that's my baby car because, you know, I actually found that car first in GT Sport. I'm just putting that out there. Nobody was using it. I then set a 157 at Suzuka, and then suddenly it became at the forefront. I'm taking that claim. Now, we just got past Sonic there. We head towards the chicane for the final time here in this particular race. So I backed out of this, hoping to get a run through the chicane on anybody up ahead, because this is the fight for the lead right now. As we head towards the final corner, you can see there side by side. So it's where do I want to place my car? Now, as we go through here, we're going to accelerate out the corner. Unfortunately, Sparks Theory goes round. That halts the Ferrari on the right side. I'm jumping up and down my seat, wanting P3, and we get it there. We get a podium finish here in this daily race. This is a good fun race, but arguably there are some issues there as well, because you are going to have to dive a little bit to get some moves done. 6.5 out of 10 though in terms of the scores. Once again, that's down in the pinned comment if you're after all the details. Without further ado though, here is a lap guide on how to do the Nurburgring sprint layout, and my brake balance is on the right side if you are wondering that as well. Now, we're going to head towards turn 1 here. You've got the escape road first here, which is what I used to use in terms of Group 3. However, we've had a reduction in power, so you can actually go much closer to the 100 board and the curb up ahead. So that's what I'm aiming for now in terms of a brake marker. Now, in this particular lap, I actually got a little bit deep for this one, and you're going to see that I did just hit the brakes a little bit too late, but we managed to bring it back here, and what we're going to do is head over towards the right-hand side. Now, what we're looking for on the right-hand side there is that piece of tarmac. Now, that tarmac is your little brake marker or very much a lift-off marker. It depends how much speed you got out of turn number 1. Now, I'm actually going to dab the brakes a little bit here in the Porsche 911 just to slow the car down a little bit more, and it'll also give me a little bit of rotation. Notice there, I'm doing that. What I am looking for is up ahead. So we've got the orange painted barrier and that tower. Both of these are my accelerating markers for this corner. When they start to hit the center of my screen, I really should be 100%. When they're not quite at the center, I'm starting to accelerate because I really want to get out of this corner as best as I can. And that's what I'm doing right here. So we continue on out of there. We're going to head down here. And on the left-hand side, we have the lamppost. And on the right, we've got the end of the dark green stuff. Now, I didn't used to aim for that, of course, on the right-hand side. But because we've got less power, we're not actually carrying as much speed anymore. So you can actually look to brake that a little bit later now in terms of this corner, in terms of all the corners actually here. So I'll slow it down first gear. I get on the inside here. It's grippy over there. And then I'm going to accelerate and then lift off a little bit for this right-hander and use all of the circuit. Just make sure you come back on before you get to the grass there, and you should be absolutely fine. So next up, in terms of brake markers, it's the hairpin here. We've got the 100 board or the start of the curb. Notice I'm braking before I get to them in this scenario in the Porsche 911. Now, I found that a tight line works best here, and that the car is critical. So some cars benefit so much on the exit here just due to their power bands. So you have to be in first gear for the Porsche. Other cars, you can obviously be in second gear and you'll get a bit more stability. Now, we've got 2 escape roads here. The second escape road that I've highlighted right now is your accelerating marker. So you can see I'm already hitting the throttle here in first gear in this Porsche 911. Now, this you do have to be careful of because there's a little bump on the exit which can force some oversteer. Notice that straightened up a little bit there. We head over towards the right-hand side now, and what we're looking for is either the sector line. That's a really good brake marker. Alternatively, the catch fence on the right-hand side. That is also a really nice brake marker. Now, I'm using second gear for this, and what I tend to do is let the car roll into the corner a little bit, just to carry that a little bit more, use the downforce a little bit more. So that's what I'm going to do there. So I'll let the car roll, and then I start to accelerate. Head over towards the left-hand side very quickly. And on the right-hand side, I used to use the Marshall on the left sometimes, but I can't do that anymore because we're just breaking that a little bit later. On the right, we've got the tarmac that finishes with the grass. Try and use that as a judgment marker, okay? You could use the lamppost on the left. You can see the 3 of them there on the left-hand side. I don't use them, but just pointing them out. And as we go through here, I'll let the car roll. Until I hit the apex, the curb on the corner, I can't really accelerate. Once I do that, though, I can hit the foot to the floor, the accelerator, and off I go towards the chicane. Now, the chicane. This is all about yeeting it, and you yeet it more now than ever because we have a reduction in power. It means less wheel spin. It also means the nose not lifting it up as much as well. So we use the 100 board, or as the drainage goes wider, you can use the 0 sign on the left-hand side, so that's why I highlighted that one. I use the 100 board because it's really obvious and it's like straight in your face. So as I come into here, I cut a little bit to the left, and I try and straight line the right bit there as much as I can. If I do that, and that's quite a big yeet, I will have a good lap. Now this lap, the start of it especially, was a bit atrocious, but it's my fastest lap that I did in terms of the day so far. Remember, I only spent like 15 minutes on this one in a morning. So on the left-hand side, we have the orange painted barrier there. That is the last brake marker here in terms of the Nurburgring layout, and I use that. I trail brake all the way into the corner, and when I get very close to the pit wall entry there on the right-hand side, that is my accelerating marker. So I see that, I go, do you know what? It's hitting the edge of my screen. I'm going to hit my foot to the floor. Off I go. I should make it around the corner without too much understeer. I may get better power oversteer, which I will have to correct, but as long as I can make it round, I'm absolutely fine, and that's exactly what I do. So I head towards the line. You can follow this lap. You can follow Daily Race A's lap as well. That's a 125.502. Just look for that on the leaderboard. But that is it for Daily Race B. We jump to Daily Race C now, where we are at Yamagiwa plus Miyabi for the first time in nearly 3 years. Unbelievable to say that. We're doing 8 laps. It's a grid start with a false start check. Racing medium tyres, and you do have to pit at least once. Tyres 1 fuel and tyre wear. And it's only front engine, rear wheel drive Group 4 cars. Just putting that out there. So arguably the balance should be very close indeed. We've only used this track once, and as you're seeing right there, it's nearly 3 years in terms of the last time we used it, 9th of May 2022. Now, issues, there are big braking zones, which just mean dives are inevitable, and the undulations can cause some oversteer in some cars. I particularly found that in that Toyota Supra. Now, what you are going to see here is I used the Toyota Supra in the race because that's what I started with in the morning. And then I went back to do a lap, and the Vantage was doing very well. I tried the Vantage, and I'd argue that's actually a bit better of a car. Let's jump into this race then, and let's have a look exactly what happens. Here we are then for the final race. So once again, starting in pole position. I'm starting down in P number 12. This is the first race of the day. Remember, it's a false start check here. I forgot to actually mention that. Grid start, false start check. Traction control goes on 1, of course, here as we get ready to go. Then lights out. Off we go. I release the handbrake. Remember, the handbrake is the better brake to use here for these starts because it's just a button. You don't have to release the pedal and have time delay doing that. We head towards turn number 1 then, very close in terms of this start, which is good to see actually. We've got somebody out wide there. I think that's Jensen going towards the back of the pack. Up ahead though, there's sort of a bit of smoke there, a bit of contact. As we go through here, there's cars absolutely everywhere, and we go through there. I think that was 4 wide at one point, could have been 5 wide even, as we continue on through here. So we're up into P8. We started P number 12, I think I said it was. It's all going crazy here in terms of this race, but my word, we'll have a look at that one in terms of the bloopers shortly. So we head down towards this hairpin. Please do remember, you have to brake for this one sharply as we go into here. The reason I say that is because what's about to happen here, we get absolutely clobbered into, and we send a couple other people flying. Now, that isn't our fault, so that's why we don't wait up in that scenario. We do have a heck of a lot of damage, though. Most of the car is damaged at this moment in time, and we end up in P6 from somebody else's mistake. Now, they did apologise in the chat, and we'll have a look at that one in the bloopers as well. The damage did repair itself. That's the nice part about damage in Gran Turismo. As we continue on through here, Kentish Gent there just went a bit too tight on the inside line. Had to, though, with Blue Race from the outside. And we benefit from the momentum there and go up into P5 already. Now, I love this circuit. I've raced it quite a few times in GT Sport, so I'm very much familiar with it. And I think that actually helped me in terms of this race, knowing all my brake markers already as we go into this one, then looking to slow it down. Look at the trail braking we did there. Norman chose the Hyundai, which is an interesting choice, if I do say so myself. And we tried to get the inside there. Couldn't quite work out here as we head down towards that hairpin once again. That gives Kentish Gent a bit of a run on my inside line. I kept them nice and tight there, so they did have to hit the brakes a little bit earlier as we go into here. Then Blue Racer out wide there. Norman trying to get on the inside of Blue Racer in that Vantage. I do think the Vantage is a bit better of a car here compared to this Toyota Supra. However, they're still very close. They really are. So it's not a case of you have to use the Vantage. pick a car that you like. And I'd say I think they're all pretty close. Now, Norman's just gone out wide there in that Hyundai. And unfortunately, suffering some understeer. The one good part about this Supra is it's a little bit better at cornering than that Vantage and the Hyundai that we just saw behind, who understeered off. And we do get up another place then. So we're in P4 right now, right behind Blue Racer. Now, I did want to go for the move here because I could see the leaders up in the distance. So I sort of hung back here. But as we go into here, Blue Racer just gets it a tiny bit wrong, and it allows me to get on the inside line here of Blue Racer as we continue on through. Are we going to get the job done? Yes, we are. Blue Racer's actually off the circuit, but manages to catch. I completely forgot about that. Well played, Blue Racer, for catching that one. Now, we go to lap number 4, where we all come in the pits. Now, I was in debate whether I should change tyres or not, but I decided I wanted to change tyres because I feel like the front right is going to be absolutely nuked by the end of it, and it's very much a front right that's nuked in this entire lap. Now, the two up ahead do benefit from that. Blue Racer comes out right inside me there as well, which does suggest that they've not changed tyres, because you do lose some time by changing tyres. You lose about 3 seconds if you are wondering. A Kentish Gent there appears. I'm not sure whether Kentish Gent has pit or not. So at this point in time, I'm like, okay, I need to get past Kentish Gent. I've got fresh tyres, and that will allow me to chase up ahead. So that's what I'm going to try and do here. However, Blue Racer's catch me up in that Vantage, which is a bit quicker on the straights. I just think it's a little bit slower in corners, which is why it's a good balance here. Now, Kentish Gent stays out wide there, so we do benefit from this. We're stay ahead of Blue Racer, and we do know at the moment Sparks and Huggy up ahead are the ones that we need to fight for the lead. So we advance a bit further on in lap number 5. Going to here, Huggy just gets it slightly wrong there, and we do have to slow down a little bit to make sure Huggy's got room coming back on, but we do go up into what effectively is P2. Sparks then up ahead, we do catch up to them on lap number 6, and this is where I think that front right is really hurting both Astons here, Huggy and Sparks Theory, where my front right is fresh as daisy and continuing on as normal. So I do think that changing tyres is probably the best strategy. However, I do feel like there's multiple strategies here available to you as well as you go through here. Because if you get stuck in traffic, like here, for example, I'm actually losing out from changing tyres. I'm having to make overtakes. It's only because of Huggy's mistake. I got past Huggy at this moment in time. So you are going to have to make that judgment call yourself. Do you pit on lap 1 and get out of traffic straight away? And don't change tyres. Do you pit on lap 4 and change tyres? Do you pit on lap 5, change tyres, you know? Have really fresh tyres at the very end. You just go for an undercut and change tyres. There's a lot of strategy available to you here in terms of this race, which is really, really, really good. And it's what I like in the daily race C, where there's strategy involved. You can make different decisions, different races, and the race outcome is very much different each and every time. That makes a good daily race, in my opinion. Now, we're right behind Spots 3 here. I nearly ended up in the barrier trying to just get out the slipstream a little bit there. That didn't quite work out as we head towards this fast left. But once again, I'm being held up here at this moment in time because Spots Theory made that different strategic call, and I need to try and get past here with a lap and a bit to go. Now, at this moment in time, I wasn't worried about anybody ahead, Ewan, Harty, or Max Power, because I kind of figured they were still on that different strategy of waiting until the very end and not changing tyres. So we go into here then. I'm looking to go around the outside. Not going to work in towards the hairpin, but a cutback might, which is what I tried to do then on the exit. It's not going to quite work there. Sparks Theory's got the inside. We're having a good little race here as well with the different strategies, which again is always nice to see. And that's what I want to see in Daily Race C every single week without fail. Now, if you've seen a Daily Race short, you already know the score for this race. It's an unbelievable score because I thoroughly enjoyed this one. I really did. Spots here then goes towards the inside line. Now, going around the outside on this particular corner in different cars is possible, and as I show right now. So I've got the better tyres, of course. This Supra is better at cornering than the Aston. Combine the pressure tyres with that, and we get past Sparks Theory. I thoroughly enjoyed that move, and it was awesome racing with Sparks Theory here. Now, I was a bit conscious Sparks Theory may go for the move into here, but the Supra's also got better brakes than the Vantage. So I sort of just went for it here, stayed on the racing line, and it worked out a treat. Look at this. We can accelerate away. And in fact, we did continue to do that. Sparks Theory actually lost out to Huggy here, but we head towards the line, and I win the race. You don't see me win races very often in these weekly race guides because I always start at the back, or at least as far back as I'm allowed to start. But I finished in P1. Happy days in the Supra. But I'll say, I think the Vantage may be a slightly better car, but take your choice there. Supra's a bit harder to drive as well. 9 out of 10. It's one of the highest scoring daily races that we've had here. I think it's a wonderful daily race. Really, really well played to Gran Turismo for this one. Let me take you on a lap guide, though, here at Yamagiwa plus Miyabi. So as you head towards turn 1, you got the marshal box and the 50. Okay, now you can use either of these. What I want you to do is trail brake into the corner. So you're going to turn in and trail brake. And you're just trying to carry that bit more speed through the corner. And that's what you're going to see me do right here then. As we go onto the brakes, trail brake, still trail braking, we release. We let the car roll. Now, if you wanted an accelerating marker, you can use the billboard. Another one is the fact that I've gone under 90 miles an hour. That is another marker that I was using here. I wasn't necessarily using the billboard, but it's a really good accelerating marker. What you want to do is clip the curb on the inside. In the Vantage, But in the Toyota Supra, you do not want to do that because it will force some oversteer. So just be careful between the cars. They all have different strengths and weaknesses. We continue up here then. This is all flat out in the cars. You do have to turn in a little bit earlier in the Vantage due to the less handling capability of the car. As we head up here then, we get towards the end of Sector 1 and we're looking towards the next corner then. So this is a fast left-hander and we have a 50 board right here. So in both the Supra and the Vantage, what you want to do right now is turn towards the corner, and like turn number 1, you're going to trail brake all the way into the corner and then you're going to let the car roll a little bit. But you want to clip the curb on the inside as early as possible. That's the goal here. If you go out wide, you're going to lose out. So there we go. We trail brake, trail brake, trail brake. And then instantly on the throttle in this particular case, I just trail brake a bit too long in my opinion. However, you do let the car roll a little bit and you should be fine as well. We're going to head down towards the hairpin here, the right-hander. I think I get this wrong a little bit in this one. I can't remember. But on the right side, we have the 100 board there. You want to brake just before you get to that on the right side. You can see I've just started braking right now. You want to brake in a straight line as much as you can and then release and then turn in. If you try and turn in too early here, you can have a hurried exit. You want to stay out wide as much as you can. So we come into here, we slow the car down, let the car roll a little bit. Notice that we get on throttle early. That's to settle the rear end. Because as you go onto the crest of the hill there, you can suffer a lot of power oversteer. I suffered it more in the Toyota Supra. This hairpin, very easy to lose a lot of time. So on the right hand side, you've got the end of the curb there. Use that as a brake marker. So you're already turning in. Dab the brakes, slow the car down a little bit, but you want to get on the throttle very early for this left-hander. So I'm on the brakes, instantly go on the throttle there, and I should be absolutely fine. You can run out wide a little bit here, quite a bit of curb there, but just be careful of the bounce if you do go over that curb. You just rest a little bit here now. It's a fast left into a fast right. No issues here whatsoever, but you head over towards the right-hand side now for the long left-hander coming up. Similar to the fast left in Sector 2, the start of Sector 2. We have a marshal box here. You're going to trail brake all the way into the corner and you're turning towards the corner. You're not braking hard at this circuit. Arguably, this circuit actually suits my driving style, actually, because I really love trail braking. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're looking to carry the speed. Notice that I let the car roll a little bit. I'm just slowing the car down. 100 miles an hour is what I was looking for in the Vantage. I'm not sure what it was in the Supra, but the Supra is a little bit better at cornering, so you probably want to stay above the 100 mile an hour marker. We continue now towards this sharp right-hander. This one's a very tricky corner to get right. So we have this on the left-hand side, blocking off the pit entry here at Miyabi. Now, as it starts to veer away from the circuit, you're also aiming towards the left-hand side as well. That is your brake marker. The reason you're aiming a little bit towards the left as well is to open this corner because it's a long hairpin. So we stay out wide initially, we look to slow the car down. Once we get back onto Yamagiwa, straight away we hit the throttle and then continue on round. Now, if you're in the Toyota Supra, you're going to have to short shift in that scenario because otherwise you'll suffer a whole load of oversteer. Now, as we get towards this hairpin, the left-hander, you've got this black marker on the left-hand side, which you can use right there. I think it's some fencing. You can use the end of the lettering, but I'd argue it's a bit too far back, in my opinion. You really want to break that a little bit later on if you can. I actually think they're flags there. So as we go down to second gear here, you want a late apex, but you're looking for the last two billboards there. They're normally white and blue. I don't think they ever do change, but I'm normally looking for those two right there. And then you want to start accelerating. You can't see the exit, but you should make it round here. Not a problem. Once again, in the Toyota Supra, if you clip the curb on the inside, you're going to get some oversteer, so just be careful. You're constantly hearing that throughout this lap. It's definitely a much more difficult car to drive, the Supra, but it's very close to the Vantage as well. As we go down here then, we lift off a little bit, and the end of the curb here is our brake marker. Now, in the two cars I tried, you're going to want to drop to third gear, in my opinion, just to get a bit more rotation around this corner. But you're going to 100% brake initially, drop a gear, and really aim for the curb on the left-hand side. It's very easy to go wide for this corner by carrying too much speed. We clip the curb. Once we clip the curb, we can then accelerate. Do not accelerate before you hit the curb, otherwise the front end will lift up and you'll just take off. For the final corner then, on the left-hand side, we have the 50 board there. That is your final brake marker. I'm not sure how well I'll do this corner in particular on this lap, but even so, you're going to aim towards the inside curb. You actually want to take a tight line in the Vantage. I'd say the same for the Supra as well if you can. So we keep it nice and tight there, and we instantly want to get on the throttle very quickly indeed. We continue on out of the corner then. Stay towards the left if you think that's your fast lap, and you should improve your time there. You can follow that lap time on the leaderboard, which is 2:26.169. We jump to the bloopers then, and first up, Bembo start. So you can see here, starting uphill, terrible way to start. And Bembo changes gear, unfortunately clips the fence, and then goes towards the inside. So yeah, an unfortunate start there for Bembo. Not even started the race, in theory, because we're not across the start-finish line yet. And then gets it wrong, actually trying to rejoin there. Sorry, Bembo, but we had to have a look exactly what happened. Now, this is very interesting, this one. This is Jensen then. So go through the left-hander. Watch that rear quarter of the AMG. Watch it, watch it, watch it. The Porsche was nowhere near the AMG there. However, Jensen got punted. Very interesting netcode incident, that one. Definitely not on the Porsche there either. Just very bizarre situation and accident. So here's an interesting one. So Sonic's taking a penalty on the right-hand side here. Tex goes towards the inside. It sort of forces the RCZ onto the grass. Now, I'd argue that is actually more on Tex than Sonic, in my opinion, because Sonic's trying to then catch the car in that scenario, whereas Tex, you should have just given some more space and you'd have made that absolutely fine. Up to Sparks Fury in the final corner as we go through here. Aries up ahead, and unfortunately, Sparks just loses the rear end there on throttle. Very easy to do. Sparks then, I didn't know you were going to do this, but in my head when I was watching this, I thought, go for the reverse. You did. And watch this. We have a bunny hop. I never knew you could do that, so you've shown me something new there. Daily Race, see what happened towards turn number 1. So Sparks on the inside here. Oh, okay, so there's a small... okay, yeah, so Clark's had to hit the brakes. Hoggy's then hit the inside. I think that's a racing incident more than anything, but look at this. We are 5 wide there. 5 wide at Yamagiwa. You don't see that very often at all. That is very interesting indeed. Now, what actually happened in towards the hairpin here? So on board the South African driver, we're going to go into here, hard on the brakes. They just about broke themselves here, and then they hit me, which just hits them into them. They made the wrong decision by hitting me there, but again, it's in the situation moment, and you can see they waited up, and they did apologize as well. So it was clearly an accident, a mistake. Some people go, oh, dirty driving. No, it was a mistake, an honest mistake there, and fair play for waiting up. That's it for this video there. 2 videos there to check out, including some new Group 4 cars that I recommend. Down below are my partners. Do check them out, including use code Tidgney. A big thank you for watching as always, and I hope to see you in another video or live stream again very soon.